It's just another day in a small, tight-knit town. The kind of town where people wave to each other on the street, and everyone knows each other's business. In this town, there's a convenience store run by Mr. Harris, a man who has been serving the community for over 20 years. He's seen generations grow up, watched kids from the neighborhood turn into adults. But today, something different happens. Something that will change the way everyone in the town sees each other. It's mid-afternoon, and a black teenager named Malik walks into the store. Malik is 16, a good kid, always respectful, always looking out for his family. He just came from basketball practice, still wearing his jersey, sweat glistening on his forehead, with his backpack slung over one shoulder. He walks through the aisles of the store, looking for a snack and a drink, like any other day. But as Malik walks around, something feels different. He notices the eyes of Mr. Harris following him. Every time Malik moves to a different aisle, Mr. Harris moves too, pretending to tidy up the shelves, but really just keeping a close eye on Malik. There's a weight in the air, an unspoken tension. Malik feels uncomfortable, but he tries to ignore it. He's just here to buy something and leave. As Malik approaches the counter to pay for his items, Mr. Harris's eyes narrow. He steps out from behind the counter, his posture stiff with suspicion. He doesn't greet Malik, doesn't offer the usual friendly banter he gives to other customers. Instead, his voice comes out harsh and accusing. "Mr. Harris, hold on a second, kid. Empty your pockets." Malik's heart skips a beat. His face flushes with confusion and embarrassment. He hasn't done anything wrong. He looks around, noticing the other customers in the store staring at him. It feels like the walls are closing in, like the whole world is watching him. Malik's shocked. "What? I didn't steal anything. I'm just trying to buy this." But Mr. Harris doesn't believe him. His mind is already made up. In his eyes, Malik is guilty. Guilty of something. Guilty of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Guilty of looking a certain way. "Mr. Harris, I've seen your kind before. Don't try to lie to me. Empty your pockets, or I'll call the police." The words sting Malik. "Your kind." Those two words hit him harder than anything. His hands tremble, and his voice cracks as he tries to defend himself. "Malik, I didn't do anything. I swear. Check the cameras. I'm just here to buy my snacks." But Mr. Harris doesn't listen. He grabs Malik's backpack, yanking it open, spilling its contents all over the floor. The people in the store watch in stunned silence. Some are too shocked to say anything. Others look away, pretending they didn't see what just happened. Malik's belongings, his textbooks, his basketball jersey, his phone, are scattered across the floor, as if to prove his innocence. But Mr. Harris doesn't care about that. All he sees is a young black kid, and in his mind, that's enough to make Malik guilty. Malik stands there, frozen, humiliated. His throat tightens as he fights back tears. He doesn't want to cry in front of these people. He doesn't want to give Mr. Harris the satisfaction of seeing him break. But inside, he's breaking. He's breaking because he knows this isn't just about stealing. It's about how people see him. How people like Mr. Harris see people like him. The other customers slowly begin to leave, pretending not to notice the scene. But one woman, an older white lady named Mrs. Thompson, lingers. She has been shopping quietly in the back and saw everything. Her face shows concern, but she doesn't say anything, yet. Malik gathers his things, his hands shaking, and heads for the door. Mr. Harris doesn't apologize. He just watches Malik leave with a satisfied look on his face, as if he's done something noble, as if he's protected his store from a thief. By the time Malik gets home, word has already spread around town. Small towns have a way of making news travel fast, especially when it's something like this. His mother is waiting for him, her face a mix of worry and anger. She had heard from a neighbor about what happened at the store. She knows her son, knows he would never steal, and she is furious that someone would dare accuse him. The community is divided. Some people, like Mr. Harris, believe the worst about Malik, even though they've known him his whole life. Others, especially Malik's friends and family, are outraged. They know this isn't about theft. It's about prejudice. The local pastor, a strong advocate for unity, decides to speak out. He calls for a town meeting, urging people to stand up against injustice. He knows that Malik's story is one that too many young black men in America face. He's determined not to let this moment pass without making a change. Meanwhile, Malik tries to go about his life, but it's hard. Everywhere he goes, he feels the weight of people's stares. His friends try to cheer him up, but Malik is hurt in a way that's hard to describe. He thought he was part of this town, but now he's not so sure. But then something surprising happens. Mrs. Thompson, the older lady who was in the store that day, comes forward. She's been thinking about what she saw, and it's been bothering her. She knows Malik didn't steal anything. In fact, she saw another man in the store, someone who was acting strangely, slipping something into his jacket. Mrs. Thompson can't stay silent any longer. She goes to Mr. Harris, urging him to check the security footage. Mr. Harris, reluctant at first, finally agrees. When they watch the tape, the truth is undeniable. The real thief wasn't Malik. It was another customer, someone who had been in the store earlier, unnoticed by Mr. Harris. The proof is right there on the screen. Mr. Harris is stunned. His face pales as he realizes the gravity of his mistake. He had wrongfully accused Malik. He had humiliated an innocent young man, all because of his own biases. The next day, Mr. Harris goes to Malik's house. It's not easy for him. He's a proud man, and admitting he was wrong feels like the hardest thing he's ever done. But he knows he has to do it. He knocks on the door, and Malik's mother answers, her expression cold and guarded. Mr. Harris looks down at his feet, unable to meet her eyes at first. Mr. Harris, I came to apologize. To Malik, I was wrong. I let my assumptions get the better of me, and I'm sorry. Malik comes to the door, his face unreadable. He listens as Mr. Harris stumbles over his words, trying to make amends. It's not perfect, but it's something. Malik doesn't say much. He's still hurt, but he can see the sincerity in Mr. Harris's eyes. Malik, thank you for admitting it. That means something. Mr. Harris offers to publicly apologize, to clear Malik's name in front of the whole town. Malik's mother, though still angry, agrees that it's the right thing to do. The next Sunday, at the town square, a crowd gathers. People have heard about what's going on, and they're curious to see how it will play out. Mr. Harris stands in front of everyone, with Malik and his mother by his side. His voice shakes as he speaks. Mr. Harris, I made a terrible mistake. I wrongfully accused Malik, not because of what he did, but because of my own prejudices. I can't undo what I did, but I want to say, in front of all of you, that I was wrong, and I'm sorry. The crowd is silent, taking in the weight of his words. Some people are shocked, others nod, understanding how deeply these issues run in their town, in their country. Malik stands tall next to Mr. Harris, a symbol of strength and grace. He could have lashed out, could have let anger consume him, but instead, he chose to rise above it, showing the entire community what true character looks like. This story isn't just about a wrongful accusation. It's about the power of prejudice and the importance of confronting our biases. It's a reminder that we must look beyond the surface and truly see each other for who we are, not for the assumptions we make. Malik's experience changed the town forever. People became more aware of their actions, more thoughtful about how they treat others. And while the scars of that day will always remain, Malik's courage and strength turned a painful experience into a lesson for everyone. Sometimes the greatest lessons come from the most difficult experiences, and in those moments we have a choice. We can let our pain define us, or we can rise above it, and in doing so, teach others to see the world through a clearer, more compassionate lens.